It's time for another Techpedition Podcast. We're back. How's it going, Clarence? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Fresh off the heels of PensaCon 2019, where I had a lot of fun. Saw a lot of famous people as well. So, you know, saw the William Shatner in person. In
oh, really?
Color.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. William Shatner, Catherine Tate, a Doctor Who actor, almost the entire cast of Battlestar Galactica was there, which was freaking awesome.
You got to see Starbuck?
Well, she wasn't there. Okay, but I saw Colonel Ty say fracking Cylons in front of the crowd.
In the words of Metallica, nothing else matters. I'm just playing.
Yeah, man, but that was good. I saw a lot of famous people, had fun, chilled out in Pensacola. So, you know, glad to be back, but had fun doing that.
So, yeah, you want to just jump right in it? Jump right into it?
Yeah, let's do it. What do we have on the docket here for the day?
Some interesting Nintendo news. Well, do you want to talk about your Nintendo story first? Since it's kind of short and sweet.
Well, yeah, it's pretty short and sweet, but, you know, Reggie Fils-Aime has been around for a while now. He is the main, I guess, the public facing guy for them. When you think of Nintendo heads, he's kind of one of them, besides the legendary creators over at Nintendo, he's one of the ones that comes to your mind, and he's going to be retiring, and he's going to be replaced by some guy named Bowser. So maybe I should Doug Bowser, in an ironic twist, will be
the end of an era,
replacing Reggie Fils-Aime as head of Nintendo of America. Yeah, he's moving on out, man. Which is, you know, that was kind of surprising.
Yeah. He has been the guy for a while, though. So, I mean, maybe he wants to move on, or I'm sure he's made enough money to last him the rest of his life. So,
yep.
Probably just wanting to chillax. I'm sure that's a stressful job.
Yeah, man. Yeah, get on out of there and let some fresh blood get in there and, you know.
Shake things up.
And he leaves on a high note, so that can't be understated.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, speaking of Nintendo, there's a couple of rumblings or rumors or scuttlebutt, however you want to call it. So first off, there's a rumor that the new iteration of the Switch will be coming this year. There's not really this is not a sequel. Like, this is not a next console. This is like a just refined version of the Switch.
Is it really going to be a refined version?
What do you mean?
I'm really laughing at it because I heard another guy talking about this. It says Nintendo is the only company that can take something away from something, rebrand it, and put it out, and we'll look at it like it's the best thing since sliced bread. So what are they doing with this revised version that you mentioned?
So first of all, the rumor is that there's going to be two versions. One of them is a Switch Lite, and the other one is, like I said, a new or enhanced version of the Switch. I can't really find any details on exactly what that means. It could mean a better screen, better gamepads. I don't know, longer battery. Who knows? But I think it's interesting that they're rumored to be releasing new hardware this year.
Yeah. Some of the things I heard that maybe they will take away the ability to remove the Joy-Cons. You know, to have a enclosed
true handheld.
True handheld will make it cheaper to produce. And also maybe get a different price point in there and, you know, continue to sell as they do. They can definitely cut corners and make it a little bit cheaper, make it a little bit more affordable. So you can start to maybe slowly phase out that handheld market that they also on with the 3DS. So I don't know. Yeah. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of that, there's quite a few Microsoft rumors going around in conjunction with Nintendo. First one was actually confirmed by Microsoft. So there's a description of their upcoming GDC panel, and they pretty much confirmed that Xbox Live is coming to the Switch. I think that's awesome. Like, it's a win-win because Nintendo's current online service is garbage. It is hot, steamy, smelly garbage. And
I don't understand this, man.
You don't understand it. I mean, what's not to understand about it?
I mean, okay, is it going to replace Nintendo's current system?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought it was just like an also ran thing that they're kind of just.
I don't think so.
Man,
I know
huge.
that Smash Brothers, the new Smash Brothers Ultimate uses Nintendo server, so I don't know if they're going to be refactoring that. But the way I've received this is that, you know, they're going to be using it as their online service, like, going forward.
That is really interesting.
And There's also a rumor that Game Pass is coming to the Switch.
Yes, if they get this xCloud thing up and running with the addition of Game Pass, pay $10 a month and you're able to stream, I'm not going to say proper games, but big boy games to the Switch. I think that could be interesting.
And I mean, at first glance, I agree with you. This may not make a whole lot of sense, but there's a couple things to consider. One of them is that, this generation, Microsoft's only competitor is Sony. Like, Nintendo's not really competing with Microsoft and Sony. Like, not really. If you look at their system, it's a completely different, ecosystem. Like, the games that are being released on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox, they're not really being released on the Switch, and vice versa. The Switch, I'm sure there's some cross-play. There's some games that kind of maybe released on all of them, but for the most part, it's kind of its own thing, and it's kind of a handheld, and it's kind of a console, and they're not really competing with each other. Nintendo needs an online service. If you think about it, they're already playing buddy buddy with all this cross-platform stuff, where Sony doesn't want to play ball. Minecraft is on the Switch. It's also on the PlayStation, but I feel like, this new bromance that they have, and it only makes sense. And the thing is, like I said, they're not competing, so. From Microsoft's perspective, the best thing that can happen is they maybe sell a few more Xboxes. And then you also have synergies there where some people who may not have necessarily bought a Switch, they may try one out now, and vice versa. I feel like it'll be more Switch people trying out Xboxes than Xbox people trying out Switch.
Yeah.
But
and that's the thing to me. I don't really see in this puzzle where this is going to drive people to buy Xbox hardware. And maybe that's not the point. Maybe
that's the thing. That's the thing. Microsoft isn't trying to sell hardware anymore. They're trying to make games as a service. They're even doing it on the Xbox. Right. Yeah. And because, with Game Pass, they're trying to do Netflix for games. And I feel like the more platforms they can put that on, that's just pure profit for them,
Yeah, it would be interesting to see Nintendo actually make Xbox Live a part of their online platform. And Microsoft already kind of does it with EA Access, which is another tier you can buy on top of your normal Xbox Live. So, I can see what they're going for here. And, maybe the story we get at E3 will be a complete picture to where maybe I can really latch on to it. But right now, it's just kind of...
And the other thing is that I'm thinking is that they're not going to call it Xbox Live. They'll probably call it Nintendo Live or something. But the accounts will be, I feel like it'll be something named like Nintendo-ish, and the accounts will just be persistent. So you can log in to Nintendo Live with your Microsoft account, or you can,
I like that live branding going across. Yeah.
That's what I feel. I don't think they're going to call it Xbox Live on the Switch. They'll find some way to rebrand it, but the bones underneath will be Xbox Live. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think it's an excellent opportunity for both these companies to work together, and it's equally, I feel like, mutually beneficial for both. So.
Yeah, and my only worry is Microsoft has kind of this start-stop mentality with a lot of services, where they start something and it, starts out to be this shining thing on a hill and it's going to be so great. And, a year or so into it, they wind up taking a total U-turn. So
that's the thing though. Well, that's the thing. Even with this, Xbox Live is not going anywhere. True. It's been around for over 10 years now? Yeah. 10, 15 years?
It's tried and true.
And version of Xbox Live that was on the Xbox that launched with Halo 2. It is better than Nintendo's online service right now. That's how bad Nintendo's online service is. So they are hurting.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was reading these articles about Nintendo sent out a survey when they were designing their online service, and they asked different game developers what would they want in an online service, and a lot of them were like, we want some of the things that Sony and Microsoft have, like achievements and leaderboards and all this other stuff. And the translator who was doing it, he would reply back to these developers they don't have any idea what you guys are talking about.
What is this, a lost in translation thing?
Could you they just have no idea what Microsoft and Sony are doing. They have they have no clue.
Wow.
And
wow.
if, that's how far behind they are. So this is good for them and it's good for Microsoft. So especially if they go games as a service and it's like, this could be the Trojan horse that they need to like overtake Sony. I was joking with some of my friends at work and I was like, they just need to make a console together. Just do it. Just do it.
Man, that would be killer.
Nintendo sucks at hardware. They sucked at hardware for a while now. I mean, they usually have their shtick or their, I don't want to say gimmick because it's not the right word, but they usually have their shtick with their hardware where it's like, okay, it's interesting, but can you imagine if Microsoft and Sony decided to release a console together, like how huge that would be?
Well, wasn't it rumored, or maybe there was some actual hardware? I think there was actual hardware of Nintendo and Sony doing a combo thing
Nintendo is
back
the
in
reason,
the late 90s.
Nintendo is the reason Sony is in the gaming industry. So, like, yeah, I know the history on this. So, all right. So Super Nintendo era, right? Optical media is becoming more prevalent. So Nintendo was like doing some, I guess, preliminary research on adding a disc drive because you had Sega CD out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Sega CD came out before or after, but you had stuff like the CDI. Like there are some CD-based game consoles coming out. So they basically worked with Sony to try to develop a disc drive, a CD drive for the Super Nintendo. And it was going to be called the Nintendo PlayStation. And
wow.
Basically, I think Nintendo or Sony wanted royalties or something on the they wanted all the royalties from the media royalties from the CD sales. So Nintendo was getting worried that Sony was going to try to like screw them over or something.
Yeah.
So they screwed Sony over first. Like they didn't even tell Sony. But at CES, like Sony was getting ready to show this Nintendo PlayStation prototype at CES or one of those shows. I think it was CES. And then Nintendo at the same show announces that they're going to be working with, I believe it was Philips. They're going to be working with Philips to release a CD-based gaming console. It was either because like remember those horrible Zelda CDI games that came out?
Yep.
That was kind of the result of that deal. But Sony was so pissed off that they just gave Ken Kutaragi, who was working with Nintendo on this Nintendo PlayStation, they just gave him a bucket of money to finish the project.
And the rest is history, huh?
And yeah, they went to all these different developers, whereas you used to have to pay all this money to like mass produce cartridges. They're like, we can mass produce these CDs for like pennies on the dollar. And your overhead costs are going to go down. You're going to sell more games. And you'll get a bigger cut of the royalties. And they just pretty much marketed the heck out of the PlayStation and ended up just completely killing everybody in that generation. And I mean, the rest is history, obviously. But it's just there's a really interesting article on it. I'll have to find it and send it to you. But yeah, that was a tangent.
No, not at all. I mean, do you think it's possible in today's day and age for anybody to make a console that's profitable?
People are trying. There's like a couple different companies that are trying to release a console.
Android-based,
Atari released their Atari box or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, but I don't.
There's also another
Android
console coming out. There's also a new console. I can't remember what the name of it is though.
I remember the Atari thing. I wasn't so impressed by that.
It's not Atari. It's something else. But I can't remember. I'm not going to spend the time to research it. But there's also another console coming out this year. And it's like it's going to be like not like the Ouya, which was that Android thing. It's going to be like an actual legit. I think it's going to be PC based though. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And we got GDC coming up next month as well as E3 just a few short months from now. So man, we're getting into the thick of it for 2019, man.
Yep.
So I'm going to pivot into a story of mine talking about online services. So Spotify has officially launched in India. So why do we care? We don't really, unless you're in India and you're listening. I'm glad you're listening. But they are a little of the differences of the Spotify service in India versus the Spotify service here. First of all, the paid service is 119. I think this is RS, which is rupees, I believe. And that equates to $1.67 American cents a month. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, I think one of the huge differences here is their streaming tier, whereas here you can't really on a mobile device go to the song of your choice. You have to kind of do this shuffle thing, which I find
it's more like Pandora, the free tier is.
Yeah, it's more like a radio station gear, which I find highly irritating. They won't have that limitation in India for the free tier. So, India finally getting Spotify. Maybe not big news or something, but I thought it was interesting. It's always good to see these services kind of expand a little bit, and that's the only way you can really grow these days is to go to these different markets where they are not. So it's cool to see Spotify doing their thing.
Well, I mean, the cool thing about that is, I've got two things. One is, if you look at like these online gaming portals like Steam and I think even Xbox Live, in these different in different countries, they have different price tiers. So you can buy the same game that costs $60 here in different countries. It costs like equivalent of $5 US. But in the case of India, I feel like it makes way more sense because I look at it like I look at a Steam sale. The price is lower, but the amount of people, the population is enormous that they'll still end up making a boatload of money. So like I think that's really cool that they're doing that and not pricing themselves out of the local market.
Yeah, man, India is the new China as far as like breaking into markets and trying to sell to mass quantities of people. They're the new frontier in trying to launch a service and get something out there because just the sheer size of the addressable market is so massive. You kind of have to be there if you want to really grow as a company.
Yep. Cool. All right, then. My next story. I think this will probably be my last tinfoil hat story for a considerable amount of time. But
you retired?
I emailed you about this. I think maybe last week, or I sent you a link.
Yeah, you did.
Basically, Google released this device called Nest Secure, and it's basically a security system, from what I understand. And they shipped it with a microphone that they didn't tell anybody about. So basically, this thing shipped with a microphone. Mm-hmm. It was firmware disabled, and I have no reason to believe otherwise. But it's firmware disabled, but it shipped with this microphone. People got it in their houses, and now they're going to release this firmware update to where you can enable voice commands to it. Now,
yikes.
Me being the tinfoil hat person I am about these personal devices, like that just totally like just turns me off. Even if truly they weren't listening, and I don't believe they were, they just Trojan horsed. Is that can I use it as a verb? They just Trojan horsed a microphone in a bunch of people's home. They had no idea. It wasn't on a spec sheet. Like, this is my thing. It wasn't on a spec sheet. It was nowhere in the documentation that there was a microphone in this thing. And I mean, you can call me crazy if you want, but Congress is actually asking Google about this. So, Congress is seeking answers from the CEO, Sundar Pichai. I believe that's the Alphabet CEO. No, that is the Google CEO. Sorry. So it's been on the market since September of 2017, and they decided to turn to Google Assistant recently. And Congress wants to know how that can happen, and if we should be concerned about any other Google devices. There's actually, I believe, an open letter where they're asking 6 questions to Google. So, yeah, they're asking Google 6 questions. I'm not going to go through. Oh, I guess I will. They're right here. Simple. So the first one is, has the microphone always been a component of the Nest Secure home security and alarm system? When and how did Google become aware that a microphone was not listed on the Nest Secure's technical specifications available to consumers? What steps is Google taking to inform purchasers? Please describe Google's process for developing technical specs for its products. What stage did the error take place that resulted in the omission of the microphone's presence? Has Google taken steps to prevent such an error from reoccurring in the technical specs for other Google products? Is Google aware, or has Google ever been aware of any third party using Nest Secure microphone or any unauthorized purpose? for any unauthorized purpose. And the last question is Google aware of similar omissions in the technical specifications for any other products? And that's the thing. That's the thing that worries me. That's the thing that worries me is that that last one is that, yeah, we got it here, but how are we to know that they haven't done this before or since?
So Mark mentions in our chat room, after the Google Assistant mini fiasco, you think they would learn. Do you know what he's talking about?
I don't.
I don't remember that one.
But I'm going to Google mini fiasco. It was secretly recording.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I remember this now. Okay. This is almost 2 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know. Dude, okay.
We might have even talked about this because it was recording the dude's conversations.
Yeah, we did talk about it. We
talked about it. I remember it now.
Okay, let me pose something to you. Say I were to give you this nice car. The car looks pretty. The car looks pretty good. You know, it goes pretty fast. But I can tell you, I can give you a software update to unlock something called, let's say, ludicrous mode, where you can go 0 to 60 in 2-point-something seconds. You know, I'm unlocking a feature for you to enjoy. So as I clumsily relate that back to our story about this Google device, what is the harm in having a piece of hardware that is totally disabled, but we're going to unlock it if you so choose?
I don't have a problem with that. But the problem is the fact that they did this is not the problem. The problem is they shipped this device with a microphone inside of it, and it wasn't on the technical specification. Yeah. Like, that's the problem. Like, they should have at least disclosed that it was there.
That's creepy. That's the
problem. That's the problem,
dude. You don't even put it on a spec sheet.
Exactly. Like, that's the problem. Is there was no, like, you just. Who thought that was a good idea? Like, that's what I want to know. Who thought that was a good idea?
And you would certainly think Google would be attuned to these type of sensibilities. Yeah. People are already looking at them with with a sharp eye to make sure they don't foul up, because Google is so massive and so large and is so entrenched in so many different services and technologies. And the fact that they can release a piece of hardware that they don't even put it on the spec sheet, that's just unacceptable. I totally agree with you on this one.
And that's the thing, it definitely wasn't an oversight. There's no way this was an oversight. Yeah. Like, there is no way that there was a microphone in there and they just somehow forgot to put it on the spec sheet. Like, this was intentional, and that's the part that, like I said, that's the part that bothers me about this.
How did it come out? How did it come out? It was just people dissecting it, found out that it has a microphone?
I believe that Google they made an announcement about a feature update that would enable a microphone. They're like, download this firmware update and it'll enable Google Voice Command. Like, how is it? Oh, what? Dude. And I think somebody tore it apart. Oh, God. Somebody tore it apart and they found the microphone. I can't remember exactly what happened.
But dude, you are a freaking technology company. Put the specs on a freaking website if you somehow forgot to put it on the packaging or the instruction booklet or whatever. Put it on the website. This is just ridiculous.
You can just put, like, really bad. Microphone disabled for future firmware. You know, like, you can put something on there, we're not going to say anything about
it. Come on, Google. I'm behind you. Help me out here.
Yeah,
man. I think that's our stories for today. That is actually our stories for today.
I have one more.
Okay. Let me. Yeah. Let's talk about this. Did you see the picture?
Did you see the picture?
I saw the picture, and I'm wondering what the heck.
Okay,
what the heck? Explain, sir.
All right. So there's a new smartphone coming out, and it's made by Entergizer. Entergizer. So when you think Entergizer, what do you think? Batteries.
The little bunny walking around with the drum. That's kind of
it keeps going and going and going. Okay, so Entergizer is releasing a smartphone, and it has I think it's a 18,000 milliamp hour battery. 18,000 milliamp hour battery.
Wow.
And it's almost an inch thick.
Yes.
It's 18 millimeters, which is like 0.7 inches, I believe.
Oh my! That's the side view.
Thick. It's thick with
that
two.
Can't be the side view, dude.
Thick.
Oh my! Okay, I didn't realize that was. I thought it just didn't have a screen or something.
No,
that's the freaking side view.
It's got 5 cameras. Got a 6.2 inch screen with an 18.9 aspect ratio. It can also function as a power bank.
or a tool of death.
48 hours. Actually, I'll take that back. Users will be able to make up to 90 hours of calls, listen to 100 hours of music, and watch around 2 days of video on a single charge. In standby mode, the battery lasts up to 50 days.
Oh my god! Dude.
You can also use the phone to charge other devices like a Tesla.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. I have to admit the concept of a long-lasting battery is pretty cool, but I don't see nobody walking around with this thing. It's like,
yeah.
Hang on, my girl calling me.
This is like if you're going, I guess if you're going to the Outback, you wouldn't need one of these because you wouldn't have phone service. I don't know. Man.
Hello.
No.
How y'all doing?
Well, you said you like them thick.
Man, that's thick 2 C's right there, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I just don't know who thought this was a good idea. It does run Android 8 though.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about phones, and I guess this came out at what's the big phone conference that they have every year? Mobile World Congress? Wasn't that last week?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So, I mean, did you see some of the foldable phones that came out? What are your thoughts? I know before we said that, we didn't
really talk about the Galaxy one.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
It came out last week too.
First, let me ask
it's too gimmicky for me, man.
Is it something we even need? I guess is what I really need to ask you.
No, I don't think so. I mean, just to be blunt, no, I don't see anybody. Of course, there's going to be that guy with more money than brains that just like, I want to look cool, so I'm going to buy this foldable. I'm not even going to say that. But I just don't see a practical use for this. Who's going to pay $2,000 for a smartphone when you can buy a freaking iPad and something else and it won't cost that much?
Now I do want to see them keep iterating on this technology because I want it to, if they can get if they get it down to a certain thickness, I think it would be feasible. But it's going to be ungodly expensive for a while. But if they can keep working on the technology, get it down in price and size, I would be like 110% behind it, man. Also, we saw the S10, Galaxy S10, where we have the under the screen Sonic.
Now that is cool.
Reader.
That is
freaking fantastic. Freaking fantastic. No, man, there's so much innovation that I'm really loving in the smartphone sector because, honestly, at this point, everything kind of looks the same. So every little thing you can do to differentiate and mostly keep the price around the same price point. I think that's the key because as of the last 2 years, we've been seeing the price go up and up, especially for if you're an iPhone person. So they need to really focus on keeping that price around the same price point. But
the prices should be going down, not up.
Yes.
They haven't innovated on phones enough for the prices to be going up. Yeah. I mean,
well, it's always cameras and it's been cameras and fingerprint readers the last few years.
But how good does a phone camera have to be really? I mean, other than having the bragging rights of having the best camera, I mean, you could probably release a device with equal quality to like the new iPhone or the new whatever, for like half the price, and it'd still be a decent machine. Like that used to be Google's thing, is they release good phones at a reasonable price, but I guess they got in a pissing contest with Samsung and Apple, and now they want to have the flagship.
Yeah, well,
and we all suffer.
Yes, yeah, man. Any other stories you want to dive into?
I don't think there's other stuff, but we can talk about that another week. Nothing as cool as I think what we discussed.
Yeah, well, thanks for everybody that's joining in the chat room there. Our friend Mark Welch from DiceJunkies.com. You should check those guys out on YouTube and their podcast as well.
Awesome stuff.
Carrie, anything that you're working on podcast related or otherwise you want to plug for you? Anything's up right here?
No, not really. Just the stuff I do with you.
Yeah, man, I'm glad we're back in the swing of it, man, because it's a lot of fun to be talking tech again, man. So
yeah, definitely.
And also check us out on discussingtrek.com, where we talk about Star Trek Discovery in somewhat excessive detail, in addition to talking all things Trek. Yeah, those episodes usually come out on Tuesdays, and we're here live most Wednesdays. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Very, very quick. Techpedition. Very, very quick. Techpedition. Very, very quick. Techpedition. Very, very quick. Techpedition.
I can't beat that. It just smells burnt and dusty.
Hey guys, don't miss an episode of the Techpedition Podcast. For more information, go to techpedition.com/subscribe. TECHPEDITION.com. Never charge your phone again. Carry around a brick in your pocket. It's like balance, give and take, man. Give and take.